Hello and welcome to my channel History and Dice, and today I want to show you my Saga Age of Hannibal army, which I've kind of finished for now, and I might expand on it later on by branching off into other directions, but more about that one later. Now you might have seen some of the miniatures that I'm showing off here already if you have been following the channel, because I've been painting those miniatures up mostly within the last 9 months, I believe. However, I think making a video like this and showcasing an army is a very nice reward for finishing the project, and also for anybody who just wants to see everything in one package. So here it is. Now, Saga Age of Hannibal makes a distinction between the different troop types in such a way that you have, on the one hand, the citizens, which are the Carthaginians, the liberal Phoenicians basically. So the heavy infantry would be one of the troop types, or the heavy cavalry or medium cavalry. The elephants are part of it. And then there are the contingents, which are basically the allied troops, the mercenaries, although mercenaries is a kind of word that doesn't match 100% in the modern way we are understanding it, because mercenaries worked a little bit different in antiquity most of the time. Anyway, with the contingents you can introduce, or you need to introduce, like a troop type that is visually a little bit different to the Carthaginians. At least that's how I understand the whole army. And there are obviously 3 major alternatives, I believe, in terms of the miniatures that are available, but also the way the Carthaginian army, especially under Hannibal, was structured. And those are the Numidians, the Gauls, and the Iberians. Now I picked the Numidians as my first contingent troop, and I used the infantry as well as the cavalry. So at least in this way they look very unified as well. I have also added a group of mercenaries to the army. Those are 8 hoplites, and they also originally served as test models, because I wanted to check out whether the colors that I was picking were actually working on the miniatures. So that's one of the reasons why they have kind of the same colors, at least partially, as the rest of the army. Now, all the miniatures shown here, except for 2 exceptions, are produced by Victrix Limited, and I can highly recommend them. I think they are very nice. They have a lot of detail, they are easy to paint up because they have enough depth in the miniatures as well. The only little drawback is, as with a lot of plastic miniatures, but I think that's also true in some ways with other materials, the spears can be a bit flimsy and break off, and I had to repair, I think, 2 or 3 of them already because I just touched them in the wrong way and they broke off. The 2 exceptions are the aforementioned hoplites, which are produced by Warlock Games, and they were in addition to one of the War Games illustrated magazines, I think like a year or 2 years ago. The other miniature that is not by Victrix, and it's fairly evident because it's a completely different style, is the Warlord himself, which is a metal figure sold by Stronghold Terrain, and as far as I know, the Stronghold Terrain miniatures are sold in UK by Futsal Miniatures. So if you are looking to get this miniature, you can either get them by Stronghold, from Stronghold, or from Futsal. Now, why did I pick the Carthaginians of all the armies in the Age of Hannibal book? Well, that's very simple. The fascination with the Carthaginians goes back, for me, I think like 40 years almost. Simply when I started being interested in history, and that started at a very young age for me. The Punic Wars have always been a subject to which I went back. And with what I know now, obviously the other attractive feature is that it's very colorful. It's an army that you can mix a lot because you have different kind of mercenaries, different kind of troop types. You have the elephants, which are a huge plus in my book. Really, I really like the elephants. I think they look gorgeous, and the Victrix models are fantastic to paying up. I will probably get more of them, even though I don't really need them. But if something brings joy to you, you should just enjoy it more, I think. The other advantage of the Carthaginian army, and that comes kind of from its colorfulness and the mix of it, is that it's very easy to branch out into other Age of Hannibal armies, namely the Iberians, the Numidians, or the Gauls. Because if you already build like half of a warband as contingent troop, you just need the other half to finish the next warband, and so on. And as you know, there are never enough warbands that you can have. But let's get back to the topic of inspiration, really, because, like I said before, this topic has been with me for ages and has always been fascinating. And I want to show you some of the inspirations that I used when I was starting to plan for this army. And before I start getting into the books that are next to me, I just wanted to mention two other books. One of them is an old novel by a German author called Hans Baumann, which is called I March with Hannibal. I think it's from the 50s or 60s. I know it was translated into English, And I think I read it also when I was a preteen, really, so like 8 or 9 or whatsoever. Very interesting book. I think, at least as far as I remember, I haven't touched it for ages. But that was another book that really kept me in touch with the whole topic. And the other book that I can't show you because I only own it in digital format is Adrian Goldsworthy's The Punic Wars, which is, I think, a very good book to get into the topic and have a more like look at the not just the battles and the armies, but also at the political circumstances and the in some kind also the mentalities that were governing how the war was fought by both sides and why Rome was ultimately the victor of this basically 100 years conflict if you take the first to the third Punic Wars. And it's a very good read. Adrian Goldsworthy is always, I think, a good recommendation. And I can also actually recommend his YouTube channel if you haven't seen that one yet. Obviously, it's much bigger than this one, but some people might just miss it anyway. And he gives, I think, hour-long talks there about different subjects. And now let's get started with the books. And the first book that I want to show you is the one that goes back to my childhood. And this is called Hannibal and the Enemies of Rome. Obviously this is the German version. And it's basically a book for, I would say, probably teenagers or young teenagers who are interested in history and want to learn more, maybe even a bit younger. But it's still a very, very good book that I enjoy opening up and flicking through even today, because there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, Peter Connolly is a very well-known person, well-regarded historian and archaeologist, and he's also a fantastic illustrator. And the illustrations, you can see the cover illustration already, and these illustrations are everywhere in the book. Like, I will just show you this one, for example. This is a very typical page from the book. You can see here the Iberians, so you get an idea what the group types look like. There are pictures from archaeological finds, there are schematics and reconstructions. It's a really fantastic book to get into the topic on a more visual basis. Obviously the amount of text in the book is kind of limited, so if you want to read a little bit more in-depth, you need to go to pieces like Goldsworthy's books that I mentioned before. The second book I want to talk about is inevitably something by Osprey. There are quite a few publications by Osprey on the topic. I think this one is fairly nice, especially if you want to build the army, because it's just about the Carthaginians. It does cover allied troops as well, to a certain degree. But what I really like about this book, and it has been an inspiration, or rather a confirmation, in regards to the color scheme that I picked, are the illustrations, like this one, for example. These are this one here, sorry, wrong page. This one is a Gaetulian tribesman, and that is basically a color I almost took over 1-to-1 to my Gaetulians that are part of the army. There are other examples here as well. It's I think a very good book, and I really like it's illustrated by Giuseppe Raffa, and I really like his pieces of work, generally speaking, and I've long been pondering to get some prints from him, maybe. So another highly recommended book. And the last recommendation I can make is this one, Armies of the Macedonian and Punic Wars by Duncan Heck. This was originally published in 1982, and at that point, especially when you see the cover, you might say, oh, this is old, it might be very outdated, because historical research and science does move quite a bit. You are often surprised how fast it goes. However, this one is updated version from 2016. Now that's already 8 years ago as well, but obviously much closer to the mark. And while it is not a book that you could consult for the long narratives, it is a very, very good reference book, like all of the books from Morgan's research group. And you can get it from Amazon. I think those are basically print-on-demand books, so you will get it fairly quickly. And the printing quality is okay. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's okay. And the Generally, it's pretty decent. Now the nice thing about it, obviously, it covers quite a long era, like or quite a broad range of subjects, I should probably rather say, because you have the successors in here, you have the Carthaginians in here, you have the Romans in here. That's basically half of the fractions or the nations that you want to cover in ancient warfare gaming. And you have, like, for example, this cable that basically references, or this place that references the arms and armor of the soldiers back then. So it's a very good book if you want to like get a better idea how to model certain things, and if you want to be a little bit more accurate in how you do it. I hope you enjoyed the showcase, and now obviously there's a question what comes next. I will probably come back to this project rather soon because I just enjoy painting ancients. I think it's one of my favorite periods to paint up and to play. And I definitely want to put this army into action as soon as possible, so I'm already looking for victims at the club. Now, I think the next step I will take is probably to expand it by simply adding 2 more backs from Victrix of Numidian Cavalry, which would put the overall amount of horsemen to 36. I'm not entirely sure if that's really enough. I might need even a third one, so a 4th back overall. I can probably throw in the elephants in the meantime just to plug some gaps. I mean, they are not 100% correct then because they have Carthaginian Howler riders, but it's a minor thing, and like I mentioned before, painting the elephants is a joy anyway, so I might just pick up 2 more of them as well. The other option that I'm really fancying right now are the Iberians, because I really love the look of the Iberians. I think it's a little bit a larger project as well, because you need to have both warriors on foot and on horse to maintain some of the flexibility when you are setting up the warband. We will see. Obviously, there's a third option. I still have 8 cavalry men from the Victrix box for the Roman Republican cavalry, from which I built my Carthaginian cavalry. And from there, it's just a step of literally 1 back of Victrix miniatures to build a whole Roman warband. And maybe I will get that one as well, because it's fairly easy to set up. It's a completely different playstyle as well, so I might be doing that as well. That's it for today. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up, maybe a subscription if you like it, or if you didn't like it, please comment on the video, share it with your friends if you have some who might be interested, and otherwise, have a good day, enjoy your hobby, and see you next time. Bye bye.